What's going on? It's NBA skills coach Drew Hanlen back with another episode of my Micro Skills Michael Jordan Breakdown series. Today in episode 5, we're going to take a look at the other side of the ball and we're going to look at Michael Jordan's on-ball defense. You guys have seen in episodes 1 through 4 all the reasons why he was so talented offensively, so I thought we'd do a deep dive on the other side of the ball. First thing that we'll talk about is deflections. You can see right here, he is in a great stance. He's really close to the offensive player that he's guarding. He's up under them. We always talk about getting into the ball. He's into the ball, and then he's just trying to get his hand on the ball to disrupt the offensive player's rhythm. You can see right there, 2 different swipes in the same possession, which leads to a steal. Here's a little reach around. All he's trying to do is get a hand on the ball. A sweep through was never easy with MJ because he had active hands. You can see him right here rotate on another offensive player and again disrupts it with a reach in. But look at him right there, reaching, and getting good kind of positioning so that he could get a hand on the ball. Same thing right there. You notice a lot of times he disrupted their rhythm and then he would get the steal on the second reach in. Obviously leads to a ton of the highlight dunks that you guys see. MJ, one of the best defenders all time, still diving on the ground for loose balls. Right there, defensive rebound. Doesn't matter. He still fights for possession and gets it back. The other thing that he was great at was disrupting passing lanes. You guys hear coaches all the time talk about, no easy passes. Make sure that you disrupt the offensive timing. And look at him right here as an on-ball defender, constantly using active hands to make passing lanes really, really hard to do. Again, these are a lot of the transition dunks, the easy baskets that you see. A lot of times it was defense led to offense. Ball pressure, we've already seen a couple of clips of him pressuring the ball, but look at how active he was as a defender. You see the offensive player just always kind of in trouble. MJ constantly trying to beat players to the spot. You can see him just always right there reaching in, trying to get chest stops. Right there again, look at this arm bar right there. But again, he was always into the ball. One of the other things he did great was, look at this clip, and I love rewinding this clip and going through it. But he was able to get chest stops because he was in great position. So right now, instead of being backwards, which a lot of bad defenders are, you can see his shoulders are over his knees, so his feet are behind his shoulders, so that when the offensive player comes into him, he's able to really wall up. They call that walling up right there. And you see it again, same thing, walling up, so in that good position, so he's always on balance. Now, this is the thing that I thought he was most elite at, which was beating to the spot. So if, the offensive player was driving left, he was able to jump to the spot and beat them to the spot so that he could get these steals. He was unbelievable at this. This is one of the most talented things that I've seen any defender do. But MJ was, such a kind of a pest on defense because he was able to always, run to the spot where you wanted to go, beat you to that spot, and then pick your pocket. Again, over and over again, you can see just running to the spot. Right here, he rotates off of his primary defender. Now he goes to another offensive player and again gets, that poke steal that we talked about. In transition, you see him picking up full court and still getting those pickpockets, picking up guys in the half court, at the half court line. Offensive players didn't even want to face up against MJ because he was so aggressive. He was able to get into the ball and was constantly trying to beat them to the spot. Look at how offensive ball handlers just, don't even feel comfortable handling the ball. And these are NBA players, obviously. Again, look at this one. This was just unheard of, really. Look at MJ's closeout. He gets beat, but still is able to kind of hop over and pick it. Now we look at hollowing out. Hollowing out's a concept that basically means dropping off the ball. So you can see John Stockton, getting pressured by MJ, but now he does a good job of kind of driving him to MJ's hip. A lot of defensive players get stuck right here, and then it's going to be a foul. What does MJ do? He hops off of them, which is hollowing out right there, and has high hands. So now the ref can't call a foul. So let's go back right here. You can see instead of just getting stuck or trying to kind of, apply pressure, what does MJ do? He hops off. That way John Stockton gets off balance instead of MJ getting off balance. Here you can see the active hands. You can see the ball pressure. But again, instead of getting a foul, what does he do? He throws his hands back and out, so he gets chest stops, and then beats him to the spot, and then swipes down because, again, he's always trying to have active hands. So being able to kind of run to the spot, and if you can't pickpocket them, just hopping backwards, hollowing out, is a great skill that you can add to your defensive game so that offensive players get off balance instead of you getting off balance as a defender. change of direction. He wasn't one of those guys that was just overrunning every single time and then putting himself in vulnerable positions. Right here you can see a couple things. One, look at this hand out. You always want on defense to be active with your hands, but also, clogging up lanes. You don't want to be narrow. You want to be wide so that you can really make the offensive player attack, out and around you instead of through you. And then as soon as he gets beat, he cross steps. So I know a lot of old school coaches talk about slide, 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 don't cross step. MJ was great at running. So look at this right here. He knows he's beat, so instead of trying to slide and get a hip chuck right there, which could have been a defensive foul, he just sprints. So look at that cross step right there. That's totally fine to do, and it's actually the smart thing to do. Then he's able to decelerate, change directions, and then again, disrupt the shot blocking, ability right there. Here we go again. So offensive player gets a little advantage. What does he do? Cross step, beats him to the spot, and then again, hawks the ball with active hands. You can see that drop off right here, that hollowing out. So instead of getting stuck right there where the offensive player could, draw contact and get a foul, he hops off of him. That way the offensive player loses balance because remember, the offensive player is trying to lean on him, and then he's able to beat him to the next spot. Again, offensive player, tumbles over instead of the defensive player being off balance. Altering and blocking shots, he was really good with blocking shots, really good at altering shots. You can see him running right here with Grant Hill, then is able to jump up and look at that alter. So Grant, this is a great alter right there. You can see it ends up being an off the backboard shot, not what you want. Right here, he's running with the offensive player. What does he do as soon as the shot goes up? And you can see he's the second guy off the floor. Offensive player jumps right there, then MJ jumps, but he was such a quick jumper that he was able to always get up and contest. Again, you can see the hand swipes that we talked about earlier. So even when he's not getting it, he's still trying to be active with his hands. He's in a low stance. You see one hand out, one hand wide. Good chest stop right there. Again, you see this little swipe. So even after the chest stop, he tries to get a swipe. Then he disrupts a shot right there and ends up blocking it. Here he gets beat on a little closeout. What does he do? He sprints and runs. He gets a high hand. So you can see his hand's already high. You see that low hand is already high. So then it's easier to contest. Does a great job kind of walling up. Again, a bad shot. This time does a great job getting a disruption. Again, look at that. Poke steal. And then a block shot. Just so active on the defensive end and was so good at just getting to spots, holding his ground, remaining on balance, and then making it really, really tough for the offense player to score. If you ever expose the ball, you can see the ball is exposed right there. He's always going to get these swipe steals. You can see post players just really struggled with this. Here off the ball screen, Magic Johnson gets pickpocketed, and it leads to the, again, highlight dunks that you guys always see. So always had active hands. If the ball was exposed or if the ball had a chance of being stolen, he was able to get his hands on it. He was also active in traps. A lot of times you talk about body in, hands up, but MJ was also kind of a little bit of a risk taker because he was so good at getting these steals. You can see right there, gets a big time steal and then comes up with it. Right here, doesn't give up. Offensive players, getting out of the trap. He stays with it, ends up hawking them down and getting the ball. Right here, again, getting his hand on the ball. He was just getting deflections at all times. Drops to the level of the ball right here. So, again, he's guarding a corner shooter. He comes in, he sinks in. Instead of giving up a layup or instead of saying, my guy's in the corner, I'm just going to hang out. Hopefully, they take care of it in the paint. What does he do? He comes down, gets a deflection off the leg, and gets a possession for his team. You guys all know about the iconic pullback in Utah. Well, this is what led to that iconic moment. He went over and got a steal on Karl Malone and ended up coming up with the ball so that it led to the offense possession that we all know about. Getting through ball screens is something I wanted to show you as well. A lot of people struggle getting through ball screens. MJ was able to blow up screens by staying attached. You see him staying attached and then was able to square up. That's something not a lot of people do. A lot of people are able to kind of stay connected, but they trail behind. MJ was always getting through and then squaring up. You can see right here, look at his hands, active, gets squared up again, and then gets a chest stop, and now is in a perfect position. So defensively, he was just as good as he was offensively. Some of the things that he did, he was always applying pressure by getting up in the ball. He was always on balance. He was hollowing out or beating players to spots. He was really aggressive with his hands. Active hands allowed him to get his hand on a ton of balls, whether it was a steal or a deflection, didn't matter. He was just disrupting the offense at all times.